Cancer, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for September 5th to the 11th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so Cancer, this week we have a sort of split week, two halves here. The first half, we've got the easier aspects collectively. We'll also be in the crescent phase of the solar eclipse cycle, which is usually a supportive time of moving things forward and trying new stuff. But then as the week unfolds, we do go into the collectively challenging aspects. So we'll look at that towards the weekend here. One in particular, Saturn squaring up to Neptune, which has been the big emphasis since November of presence and building things in our life from that present moment. So we'll talk more about that here in just a couple minutes, but let's look at this week in terms of how it's unfolding. So we've had that solar eclipse, and this was last week. It was in your second house. Things are now moving forward with this, and this has to do with your self-reliance. Second house, it's your inner and outer resources, right? So inner resources in a sense of your self-reliance, your achieving your values, your sense of self-worth, your self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to achieve your values. And so it's a good time to continue to develop this, this new self-esteem, if you will. And the external environment is that it's an excellent time for you to be cultivating your outer resources. Maybe it's your finances, it's saving, it's your material security. All of this stuff is excellent to be applying now in this solar eclipse cycle because it is your life path to do just that, to attain that material security and attain those values that you want in life. So that's the eclipse. Now on the early part of the week as well, we do have the Sun trining up to Pluto and Venus sextiling up to Saturn, along with this early phase of the solar cycle. So with this, nice trines from Pluto is that there's some good power here to focus on perhaps some of this, some of these resources. The Sun does naturally rule your second house, so you get a lot of positive energy here with this from Pluto. So maybe make some change, maybe change some old patterns, some old belief systems that may have in the past inhibited you from cultivating these values. Now, Venus is sextiling up to Saturn, so there is a bit of discipline and maturity here when it comes to perhaps more on the communication side of things. There's a lot of emphasis on communication at the moment. You've got Mercury here, retrograde. You're learning a lot about this. He's going to shift into your second towards the weekend. I'll talk about that. But this early part of the week, still in your third house. Jupiter's still in your third house. So there's a lot of this positive energy here for you to be learning more about the importance of communication, maybe enjoying some things like reading and writing and sharing with others, maybe doing some light socializing. Third house is all about sharing, and if it's not ideas, maybe it's in the marketplace or business, these kinds of things that have to do with those exchanges. So very positive energy for that. Also, you could be feeling quite disciplined and grounded with the communications, and maybe even too with home, family, and health stuff, since Venus does rule your fourth, and maybe even too with some friends as well. So good positive energy there. Now, as we go into the weekend, the Saturn squaring up to Neptune will become emphasized. It will be all week actually, but it's going to go exact here on Saturday. So as we approach the weekend, this has been that Saturn's in your fifth house, helping you discipline and ground your self-expression, to take seriously the things that you want to cultivate in your life that are close to the heart. It might have to do with interests or hobbies, or just merely expressing yourself, putting in that extra discipline to do that. So it's all about long-term growth, long-term results versus short-term immediate results here. Although you can be perhaps quite motivated at the moment to express yourself and get creative, which is Mars here. But with this, it's patience. It's living in the present moment with those things that you might consider your interests. So with that, Neptune is squaring up to Saturn, really emphasizing that present moment energy here. And this has been in your eighth house, suggesting that there's some old ideals and some old patterns that have to do with the deeper side of life that are being released, especially with the South Node here in your eighth. This is that, there's some extremes or imbalances that might have to do with healing or transformation or shared resources, interdependency, bonds, debts, things you might be attached to. And again, old patterns. You know, the 8th house is a very psychological house. So what I mean by that is bringing extra attention to this area of life in a sense of being aware of it and accepting that perhaps there may be some imbalances here, particularly old karmic energies or some ideals about the deeper things in life. So the key with this is to be aware of it and accept that we have them, and then naturally those energies go. And that's what is happening here with this eclipse too. These older energies are being released in your 8th to then serve as the foundation for you to cultivate your material security, the more earthy type of values here. All right, so that's the square there. Both patience here when it comes to the shared things, when it comes to the deeper things in life, and even transformation, all this patience with that, because Saturn is squaring up to the 8th as well, and vice versa. Presence with that self-expression, taking things one step at a time. And again, it's all constructively implemented for you to cultivate these resources. You know, if you want to simplify everything, this whole month with the solar eclipse about your 2nd house is pulling you towards becoming more aware of and learning more about the importance of these inner and outer resources and having both inner and outer security. All right, so that's the Saturn squaring Neptune. We are going to have Venus squaring up to Pluto over the weekend. So with this one, the second half, extra tension on those communications, right? First half, easier collectively. Towards the weekend, more of a challenging aspect there. Pluto is about deep things, deep psychological patterns. It is very much about that 8th house, in fact. So it's good to be willing to make change here with communication, make change with your mind, with your perspective, to see things in a different light, in a new light, and be open to that. Also with openness to change with your home, family, and health also. And maybe with your perspective of your ideals. Your ideals are changing this week. And, maybe even with friends too, having that extra attention there. So that's a good area to challenge yourself with those areas. And Mercury is going retrograde back into your 2nd house here over the weekend as well. So it'll be a good time to learn about the resources, to, maybe redo some things, rehash some things, maybe write some things down, budgets, plans, intentions, goals, and learning more about, again, the values, your values. So the more open you are to that, the more you treat this whole life path in a sense of learning about what you value, trying new things, experimenting, especially with Mercury retrograde, then I think that's an excellent way of working with that. All right, so Cancer, hope you have an excellent week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.